照这样下去，谁还敢结婚呢？这也太可怕了。近日
At this rate, who would still dare to get married? This is just too frightening. Recently, a genetic identification database released some shocking data. Out of 487 paternity test reports, 87 blood samples, 33 were not biological. 69 hair samples, 30 were not biological. 56 fingernail samples, 20 were not biological. 45 toothbrush samples, 18 were not biological. 57 cigarette butt samples, 26 were not biological. Among them, 141 cases were tested on-site as part of judicial identification. Out of those, 11 were not biological. And within those 11 couples, 8 couples tore each other apart right on the spot. 2 cases. The men seemed to already know the result. They said nothing, just picked up the report and left immediately. Family and friends, I really think this leaves one speechless. The point is, this was just 1 week's worth of data. If you think about it over the course of an entire year, it's unimaginable. It's really too hard for men. They work hard to earn money, buy a car, buy a house, pay out hundreds of thousands of yuan, tens of thousands of USD in bride price. And in the end, the child they're raising isn't even theirs. Who could endure that? No wonder so many netizens now say, when looking for a partner, I don't care about anything else. As long as the child is actually mine, that's enough. How heartbreaking, how helpless this is. Here, let me say this. If you meet someone unreliable, let go early. Don't be a bootlicker. Some brothers are already being cheated on multiple times during the dating stage, and yet they still can't bear to leave the woman. So let me remind all the brothers who are currently dating. Stand tall, keep your spine straight. If she's unreliable, cut it off quickly. A real man never needs to fear being single. So, family and friends, what do you think of this data?
我跟你说，这个时代啊，女人因为太优秀，单身的太多了。你比方说
Let me tell you about this era. There are too many women who remain single because they are too outstanding. Take me for example. Do you think it's hard for me to find someone? It's precisely because I'm too outstanding that I'm still single today. What should I do? But first, let's be clear why women marry down. Because they hold too many requirements. But if you marry down, you'll definitely feel uncomfortable.
没文化不可怕，就怕没文化孩子大。你优秀不
Being uneducated is not scary. What's scary is being uneducated and arrogant. Whether you are outstanding or not, we don't know. But bragging and self-promotion, that you've certainly mastered. Even cooking toxic chicken soup requires a recipe. And yours? It lacks both content and logic, going in circles with the same empty words. What meaning does that even have? What's most unbearable is when people use themselves as examples. That's purely a negative case study. How could that ever be convincing? Why fight with yourself at this age? What's the point? As the saying goes, a fine horse will eventually meet a discerning judge. A truly good woman will never be overlooked. So why are you still single to this day? Is it really because you're too outstanding? To put it bluntly, it's because your eyes are too high while your abilities are too low. Ordinary men? You look down on. High-quality men, you can't reach. So year after year, you end up becoming a so-called older leftover woman. It's clearly a case of aiming too high and settling for nothing. Yet you insist on framing it as being too outstanding. You can lie to others with open eyes, but don't you feel even a bit uncomfortable inside? Without self-awareness, you'll only end up being outsmarted by your own cleverness. Hopefully, madam, in the future you can actually learn from real experts instead of bragging all day long, as the saying goes. Even bragging requires real skill. If you lack strength, don't show off. Like Wang Po, the old matchmaker, who hypes herself up. You're just a fake expert. Before we dive into all of this, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers across the world is a huge source of inspiration for us.
老婆怀了其他人的孩子应该怎么办？这绝对是有。
What should you do if your wife is pregnant with another man's child? This is without doubt one of the most legendary cuckolded man revenge cases in history. Other men, when cheated on, would only cry, argue, or even threaten suicide. But this man, today's main character, silently studied the art of war at home, endured in secret for 8 long years, and finally succeeded in driving out both his wife and her illegitimate child, giving voice to the anger of countless wronged men. The story began 8 years ago at a gathering. A friend casually joked, "Hey, why doesn't your son look like you at all?" What was just a simple joke made the husband explode with rage. After a heated argument with the friend, he immediately took his son for a paternity test, determined to make the friend pay for his words. But the results showed, apart from being human, the child had nothing genetically in common with him. Brothers, women like this are far too dangerous. According to reports, after the man discovered the truth, he did not erupt in anger. Instead, he cared for his wife even more attentively. As the saying goes, to destroy someone, first allow them to grow arrogant. By keeping her calm and indulged, he bought himself time to carefully plan his revenge. Once he had secured arrangements for the illegitimate child, he began executing his plan. He told his wife he wanted to have a daughter, but given China's family planning restrictions, he said they would need to divorce first, then remarry after the baby was born. Normally, a woman would be suspicious. But after 8 years of his careful care and attention, his wife was already brainwashed, trusting him unconditionally. She even agreed to leave the marriage with nothing, giving up all property. To make it airtight, the man also arranged notarized legal documents. Once everything was complete, the husband's demeanor changed instantly. Gone was the gentle, attentive husband. He threw her out of the house, changed all the locks, leaving her suddenly homeless. Desperate, the wife sought mediation. She demanded, "Either remarry me, or at least give me some property." The mediator asked if she was threatening him. She replied, "I'm not threatening him, but if he doesn't give me money, I won't move out. I'm already in my 40s and 50s. I have nowhere else to go." But the written agreement, signed in black and white, clearly stated she voluntarily left with nothing, not to mention she had committed adultery and even forced her husband to raise another man's child. These conditions gave the husband an unbeatable position. The wife, however, argued she was nearly 50, and now, dragging along a son, they couldn't even afford food, let alone rent. The husband simply said, "That has nothing to do with me." No matter how the mediator tried, no matter how the wife argued, he repeated only one line, "If you're not satisfied, go sue."
这个认不清自己定位的女生哈，真的不适合往上找。就算你把机会送
This young woman who doesn't understand her own position, she really shouldn't aim too high. Even if you hand her an opportunity, she won't know how to hold on to it. Earlier this year, I met a young graduate, the only child of a double-salary family. Her parents had even bought her an apartment upon graduation. Because she was young, pretty, and came from a decent family, she felt she deserved a top-quality man. But after speaking with her in depth, I realized her personality wasn't suited to marrying up. So I advised her, why not consider someone similar to you? Another only child from a moderately well-off family, or a capable man with strong potential? But she rejected my suggestion. She believed she had no shortcomings, and so marrying a high-quality man was only natural. At her insistence, I introduced her to a man who ran his own business. He came from a family of entrepreneurs, parents who had spent their whole lives in trade. They owned multiple houses, several cars, and even a row of commercial shops. Their wealth was substantial. The man, 5 years older than her, had studied abroad and was a looks-conscious type. He found the girl attractive and suitable, and so they began dating. After a year, as Lunar New Year approached, both sides decided to meet the parents. During New Year's Eve, the girl accompanied her boyfriend to visit his family. She also wanted to thank the man's father, because when her own mother was sick, it was he who had used his connections to arrange a top doctor. At the man's home, the housekeeper had already prepared a large meal. Since it was New Year's, the housekeeper was dismissed early, so the family could have private time together. Lunch was warm and pleasant. Afterward, the girl noticed the boyfriend's mother cleaning the dishes. Out of politeness, she offered to help. The mother kindly refused. The father chimed in, "She's our guest. How can a guest do the dishes? Once you're married, there will be plenty of chances. You'll be washing them every day until you're tired of it." Upon hearing this, the girl's face fell. She stayed silent, upset, and later refused to eat dinner, insisting on leaving early. She also noticed the father didn't try to persuade her to stay, which only made her angrier. On the way home, she kept picking fights. Your mom was rude, asking me to do dishes the first time I visited. Your mom doesn't value me at all. No New Year's gift. No red envelope. Your mom wasn't even warm. She didn't see me off when I left. The boyfriend listened quietly, saying nothing. This only fueled her anger further. She called me that night, ranting until midnight. But the next day, she received a breakup text from the man. She was stunned, asking me why. Frankly, I was furious. Think about it. His father had already helped your family greatly. You should have visited earlier to thank them. Not wait to see the parents on your boyfriend's terms. And yet you dared to sulk at the dinner table? To complain about his parents right in front of him? And then to expect red envelopes on the first visit? Ridiculous. She argued. But what if they were testing me? Revealing their true thoughts through a joke? I replied. They have a housekeeper. Do you really think they'd make you wash dishes daily? It was a light-hearted joke. There was a way to treat you as family. If you had just smiled and let it go, nothing would have happened. Instead, you put on a sour face, criticized his parents, and left. High-status families are different. If you want to marry into wealth, you need either equal status to exchange resources or very high emotional intelligence, the patience and grace to be a supportive partner. If you can't manage that, then marry someone more similar to you. You'll quarrel and make up, but the days will still be warm and real. Don't fantasize about domineering CEOs who bow down to you like in dramas. That doesn't exist in reality. If you can't handle reality, don't even think about marrying up.
娶到了一个败家娘们应该怎么办？那我只能告诉你。
What should you do if you marry a woman who squanders everything? Let me tell you, no matter how capable you are, you cannot escape her five-finger mountain. The husband works hard to earn money, but she gambles it away. When she runs out, she turns to online loans. The husband toils like a beast of burden, finally saving up a bit of money. But she takes it and opens a clothing shop. In summer, she stocks wool coats. In winter, she sells shorts. Within just a few days, the losses were so severe, even her own mother wouldn't recognize her. And just when everyone thought she would finally settle down and work to make up for it, she instead chose to lie flat at home, applying for one online loan after another. Tell me, how can a family survive this? Playing mahjong day and night, while the husband is left wondering, you're supposed to be my wife, my partner in this household. How can I trust you when you've destroyed everything I worked for? But the story began with a fateful wrong number. Years ago, old Chen accidentally dialed the wrong phone, and the call connected with Miss Lai. Perhaps this was fate out of slime. The two chatted all day long without even knowing each other. They discovered both were divorced and each raising 2 children. Eventually, old Chen expressed his love. He thought a divorced woman would be difficult to pursue, but Miss Lai surprised him. She said she didn't even need a marriage certificate. She just wanted to be with him. Old Chen was moved to tears, thinking, this will save me so much money. To show his sincerity, he handed over all the family finances to Miss Lai. That was 200,000 yuan, approximately equals 28,000 USD. Having been poor her whole life, Miss Lai had never seen so much money. The feeling of overnight riches drove her wild. She proposed using the money to make more money. With her intelligence and Chen's savings, she would create a great business empire. Although old Chen opposed the idea, he couldn't stop her reckless determination. She went back to her hometown and opened a clothing shop. In the middle of summer, she bought huge stockpiles of wool coats. Her logic: buy cheap in the off-season, sell high later. But before winter even came, the shop had collapsed. Returning home, guilty yet restless, she suddenly had a brilliant idea. Take the transfer fee from the shop, gamble it all in a single round. She studied poker hands and mahjong strategies, other an end placed and ate, dreaming of a grand comeback. On the day of the game, she even invited her husband, old Chen, to witness her glorious moment. But by the end of it, the 200,000 yuan, approximately equals 28,000 USD, was gone. On top of that, she owed several tens of thousands in online loans. And soon after, she was blacklisted by lenders. Now, old Chen looked around at his empty home. Not a penny left. After working hard his whole life, he couldn't even buy a bottle of water. without checking the balance on his phone first. Finally, he decided, better short pain than long pain. He wanted to cut ties completely. Seeing this, Miss Lai begged her mother to intervene. She cried bitterly, saying she only made mistakes out of good intentions, and asked her mother to help persuade old Chen. Miss Lai said, if he doesn't want to live with me anymore, fine, just give me 30,000 yuan, approximately equals 4,200 USD, and I'll leave. I'll go back to my hometown. But old Chen said, the house has already been emptied. I don't even have 10,000 yuan left, let alone 30,000. Since neither side would back down, her mother proposed a compromise. Miss Lai must promise to let old Chen make the decisions from now on. Old Chen must give her 1,000 yuan, approximately equals 140 USD, per month for living expenses. It wasn't a perfect solution, but with both sides refusing to fully let go, it was the only way forward.
今天跟我闺蜜聊天就说起来，如果再给我们一次机会。
Today, while chatting with my best friend, we said, if we could live life again, we would probably marry in our 20s. Because once you reach your 30s, there are almost no normal men left. Most are divorced. In the past, I could never accept a divorced man. But now, as long as his reason for divorce makes sense, I can accept it. Once you reach a certain age, that's the reality you must face. If you're still watching, comment 1 so I know you're still with me.
其实吧，幸福的婚姻是不会拿出来猛讲的，幸福的故事都是一致的。我爱你，你。
Actually, happy marriages are not something people shout about. Happy stories are all the same. I love you, you love me. Falling asleep in each other's arms, kissing each other awake in the morning, raising children together. I cook while you wash the dishes. For the food you love, I go to the morning market to buy it for you. For the shoes I like, you spend half a month's salary saving up to get them. Stories like these. If you look into most families that haven't divorced yet, you'll find countless similar ones, but you don't want to hear these stories. You're not interested. Of course, to catch people's attention, you have to say things like, my husband came home after 2 a.m. last night. I'm so angry. That's why, in fact, there are many happy marriages. But happy stories are rarely told and rarely heard. Look around, couples who have stayed together for years, steadily raising children, without big storms or dramas, just kids growing up safely, looking for stable jobs. As long as they haven't divorced, they are, in some sense, guarding a balance. And the core of that balance is a very calm, quiet kind of happiness. No matter how much the man or woman may complain in that marriage, complaints are just surface level. The fact that they're still willing to stay together proves they're not utterly tired of each other. These ordinary, stable little families are the mainstream of society. Go to any school and look at a classroom of dozens of students. How many come from divorced families? You'll see the strength of this quiet force. So, remember this. What isn't said aloud is often happiness. What you see online is just venting, not necessarily the truth.
相亲总是遇到一些奇葩，我想嘛。
People say older single women can't find partners because they're too picky. But that's not true. Once you're past Trent, it's already very difficult to even meet a normal person. Odd, eccentric types appear everywhere. When we were younger, we weren't in a rush. We thought there was still time. So we poured our energy into our careers. But once past Trent, we became passive. Our own standards had to be lowered again and again. And yet, it's still not easy to meet someone suitable. That's the embarrassing part for us. We've already worked so hard, and even searching for a partner is exhausting. But if people keep mocking us, keep adding pressure, how could any normal person endure it? Blind dates keep bringing strange experiences. I don't want them, but I don't know what else to do. There are no other channels. This society already holds so much prejudice against us. I just hope people can be a little kinder. Stop letting malicious influencers who exploit our struggles for traffic stir things up online. Don't keep calling us older leftover women, saying nobody wants you, or mocking us with cruel terms.
女人，你越是保持礼貌，越是对她客气，你越追不到她。
Women, if you're always polite, always too courteous, you'll never win a man's heart. Let me tell you, women are very strange creatures. On the surface, they claim they want a gentleman polite, caring, considerate. But deep down, They will never fall for such men. They'll only treat them as tools, as waiters. So what kind of man can make a woman become the simp instead? There is one type of man who is very dangerous. Any woman who has ever dated him will inexplicably become his simp. These men are so high level, even I could fall for them. So where exactly does their skill lie? I'll summarize. High-level men master 3 core steps to completely control women, especially the 3rd step. It's the core of the core. If you can do it, the woman will be wrapped around your finger, utterly obedient to you. Let me use a real case to explain. Recently, a fan contacted me. Teacher, I've been watching your videos for a long time. This is the first time I'm messaging you. I'm a programmer. You know what people call an honest guy? I don't know how to chat with women, and I don't know how to make them laugh. I recently met a woman on a blind date. I really like her, but I always end up killing the conversation. Here are our chat records, please help me. In the screenshot, the last message from the woman said, I've thought about it carefully. I don't really want to date. It's not your fault. You treat me very well. But it's not like we have to be together, right? I just want to be free by myself. When the brother saw that, he cried. So he came to me for help. Now, could he still win her back? Of course, absolutely possible. He signed up for my private coaching, and I gave him step-by-step guidance. First, I told him to reply with just one word. All right, some brothers might think, wait, doesn't that mean giving up? But no, notice, she replied with a big question mark. She was shocked. She thought we would try to persuade her, but we didn't. Then I told him to reply. Feels like I'm relieved. Immediately, the woman replied. Relieved? Relieved of what? See? Her emotions were triggered. She didn't expect this. The brother continued, as I instructed. Relieved of being troubled. The woman snapped back. Troubled by what? You were only pursuing me because your friends told you to. Now many men would think, aha, she must like me. She just wants to test me. They'd rush to confess again. But I stopped him. We needed to keep withdrawing, he replied. You're dragging things out like an old woman. The woman replied, but I really don't want to date right now. Here's the key. Instead of trying to force her to accept, we forced her to reject outright. That flipped the script, he replied. If you don't want to date, then just reject me directly. Why so complicated? The woman, flustered, said, don't force me. I already said it's not that I don't like you. See? She exposed her real feelings. It continued pressing. Why not just reject me clearly? She responded, I told you I like you. Why are you forcing me? At this point, she was almost in tears. She couldn't understand why this man was making her so emotionally unstable. Not long after, the brother told me they were officially together. And now, she obeys his every word.
今天看到这样的一个新鲜事儿，一男子为了结婚贷款了38万给女方彩礼。
Today I saw a rather shocking story. A man, in order to get married, took out a loan of 380,000 yuan, approximately equals 53,000 USD, as bride price for the woman. 3 days after the wedding, he confessed to his wife, this bride price was borrowed. From now on, we'll slowly pay it back together. But when the woman heard this, she was furious. That very night, she returned to her parents' home. The next day, she went straight to court to file for divorce. The man refused to back down, stating, divorce is fine, but the 380,000 yuan bride price must be returned. What was originally one family suddenly became two, turning into an ugly public battle. The man explained he hadn't meant to deceive her. He simply wanted too much to be with her. But the woman refused to listen, insisting on divorce. Both sides stood their ground, and the matter ended up in court. The court issued the following judgment. The man was at fault for hiding the source of the bride price. But since the marriage lasted only a very short time, the woman must return part of the money. Final ruling. The woman must return 200,000 yuan, approximately equals 28,000 USD, to the man. What a mess! Loans today really are everywhere. Not long ago, I even saw reports of people taking out installment cat loans and installment dog loans. Literally cat loans and dog loans. And now, someone even takes a loan for a bride price. Did he really think that after marriage his wife would help him repay the debt?
怎么是你有男朋友才知道的？
How do you know when you really have a boyfriend? When you know everything about each other. Dare you talk nonsense? Of course not. Girls, what's the best cosmetic procedure? Having money. Do you have a small goal lately? To lose weight. What? You still want to lose weight? Women never think they're thin enough. Ha ha ha. What do you think is the best state for two people in a relationship? Mutual companionship. What's the best part of dating? Not being lonely. If you suddenly won 10 million yuan, approximately equals 1.4 million USD, what would you do? Travel the world. Why does everyone want to travel the world? Because the world is so big and we all want to see it.
相信有不少人呢都能感受到社会上，包括身
I believe many of you have already felt it. In today's society, fewer and fewer people are getting married, while at the same time, more and more people are getting divorced. This isn't just a feeling, it's reality. The number of divorces is indeed rising every year, and the divorce rate keeps climbing. Among them, those born in the 1982nd and 1992nd have the highest divorce rates. The proportion of lawsuits filed for divorce has reached 51%, and the actual divorce rate has reached 61%, especially among those born in the 1992nd. The divorce rate is shockingly high, 57%. That means that among those who marry, more than half later end up divorced. So why is it that nowadays, unlike the past, marriage is no longer seen as for a lifetime, and divorce has become so common? There are several main reasons. First reason, the spread of premarital sex and lower marital loyalty. The more sexual partners someone has before marriage, the more their marriage quality is likely to be affected. Every additional premarital partner lowers the quality of marital intimacy, weakens communication, and decreases marital stability. Research in psychology shows that frequent premarital sexual activity can create habits, diminish a sense of responsibility, and erode respect for long-term relationships. Such people often lack the ability to manage marriage, get bored more easily, and go seeking fresh excitement, leading to infidelity, ultimately pushing divorce rates higher. Second reason, women's independence, financial and ideological. Today's women are no longer dependent on men for survival. They can work independently, earn enough to support themselves, and naturally, economic independence brings mental independence. So, in marriage, they no longer tolerate silently. When relationships break down, when infidelity happens, or when values diverge, many of the divorces are initiated by wives. Because modern women want emotional security and companionship on a deeper level, not just a man who provides food and shelter. Third reason, heavy life pressures. Today, people are very pragmatic. If you don't have money, they may leave you. There's a saying, married birds of the same forest, when disaster strikes, they fly apart. In modern society, many couples separate, even before disaster arrives, simply because of poverty. For centuries, the poor have always struggled more in marriage. And even today, among lower-income families, divorce is higher. Poor couples are sad in 100 ways. A family in long-term poverty cannot avoid endless arguments about money. Whether it's tuition for children, a broken refrigerator, or unexpected medical bills, money troubles can overwhelm a marriage. A poor man may blame himself or his family background. A poor woman may say she married for love, but after entering a marriage of hardship, many women choose to leave, even if there are children involved. Fourth reason, conflicts between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. These problems have existed for thousands of years. In the past, even with deep conflicts, women rarely divorced because they were economically dependent, traditional in mindset, and feared the shame of divorce. But today, things are different. With women's independence and stronger feminist awareness, they refuse to tolerate unfair treatment. If mother-in-law conflicts erupt often, and husbands fail to take their wives' side, the result is frequent fights, cold wars, emotional breakdown, and ultimately, divorce. Fifth reason, toxic chicken soup from the internet. With the spread of online information, toxic relationship advice spreads like a virus, and it affects people deeply, especially women. As the saying goes, toxic chicken soup won't make you happy, but it can make you divorced. Because these messages emphasize material gain, while downplaying love and responsibility, they give selfishness a perfect excuse. I'll be beautiful, you provide everything. I married him, so he must love me more than my own parents do. But life doesn't work that way. Doing housework doesn't mean your partner doesn't love you. As long as both sides share responsibility with gratitude, housework can even enhance intimacy. Children, too, are not the duty of one parent, but the natural bond of both. Those poisoned by toxic chicken soup inevitably bring conflict into marriage. Over time, divorce becomes inevitable. Sixth reason, the rise of only children. Most only children were raised as precious treasures. End code ends of the namas.mod of the Sidid, Samantwana B10 and 2020 tin and TD1 and comment. End com not of the Sid and condiment common might of the stew. Overindulged by parents and grandparents. They grew up self-centered, unwilling to sacrifice, demanding to be loved and indulged. Such people find it hard to endure hardship, and divorce is hardly surprising. For example, my cousin, a typical 92nd child. After marriage, both he and his wife expected to continue being spoiled. Within half a year, they couldn't take it anymore. Divorce. Seventh reason, changing social attitudes. Society today is open. Divorce is no longer seen as shameful. In the past, marriage was about survival and children. Divorce was considered disgraceful, so couples stayed together even if miserably. But today, people pursue feelings altered and uer. They want romance, heartbeats, soulmates. If marriage brings unhappiness and communication fails, divorce becomes the likely outcome. Since divorce is so common now, no one points fingers anymore. Without that social pressure, divorce is simply easier. In conclusion, high divorce rates today are the result of many factors combined: changing mindsets, rising pressures, more temptations, and weaker traditional values. But marriage is never a trivial matter. Before deciding, think carefully again and again. If there is a way to save it, try to save it. If it truly cannot work, then at least separate peacefully. So what do you think? Today, the reality of Chinese society shows us a troubling picture. According to data from China's Ministry of Civil Affairs, in 2023 there were 7.05 million divorces, while marriage registrations fell to only 6.8 million couples, the lowest level in decades. This clearly reflects a decline in trust in marriage and a deep crisis in family relationships. Yet if we look back at tradition, family has always been the most solid foundation, the core value that keeps society stable. When families are harmonious and children are raised in warm environments, society as a whole becomes stronger. That is the true China social trends: to return to traditional family values, to uphold loyalty, responsibility, and love. And again, it is the true China social trends to ask ourselves, does real happiness come from money and appearances, or from sharing and understanding within the family? Oh. So, tell us today, should people prioritize true love or material security in marriage? Would you be willing to give up a bit of personal freedom to preserve family happiness? Leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more hard-hitting discussions. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.